Hello everyone, welcome to another Venruki video. And this is one, it's a little bit past due, I would say. We're gonna be going over all things with the World of Warcraft meta. We're gonna be talking about what's going on in Solo Shuffle, what classes are doing exceptionally well, what classes are struggling right now, as well as the 3v3 meta and what we can expect for the AWC next weekend, which is coming up. We got the Gauntlet coming up next Friday, and then the finals for both Europe and North America on the following Saturday and Sunday. So should be a lot of fun. Lots of things to be excited about and look forward to if you are a fan of PvP. But as I get boosted on Milky Glaze, my Tauren Ret Paladin, I got the good idea to make it Paladin to just have high haste and spam Repentance on people. So that should be fun. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow on stream. But I want to take a look at this. So the first thing we're going to do, since I think it's the most relevant for y'all, is going to be looking at Solo Shuffle. So with the help of Drusvar, we're going to go over to Solo Shuffle, and I'm going to take a look at both the US and European region right now. We'll look at what's going on at 2400 plus. So that's the elite level. It's quite high right now, I'd say, in the grand scheme of things. You know, if we look, the top players I think are playing around like 2700, 2800. So 2400 is a really, really good sample size. You know, about 2000 melee, 2000 range, 1000 healers, etc. So we can see Arms Warriors. If you guys haven't looked, actually, first we can take a look at this. We'll take a look at the flavor of the month. So this is a graph that has been making the rounds on Twitter. We've seen a lot of complaining about Arms Warrior right now. So you can see Arms Warrior stonks are going way, 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 way up. They're trending up. And at that same time, Fury Warrior stonks are trending down. The funny thing is I don't even think Fury Warrior is that bad. I just think Arms is really good. And you have to wonder, what about Arms changed? Like, why is it so much better? The only thing that really changed is the crit modifier on Execute got nerfed, and the overall damage of Execute got buffed. So Execute does more damage now, but maybe on the higher end it crits a little less, something like that. I think it crits even more, to be honest with you, with the way the math works. But yeah, Arms Warriors are really good, and when you compare it to Fear, Arms are actually a little bit tankier. So it's one of the nice things about the Arms Warrior is you have Ignore Pain. It gives you a lot of damage reductions, and as you can see, Arms Warrior stonks are getting up there. You're not going to be playing many threes games or shuffle games without an Arms Warrior involved. They're quite strong. But let's go back to Gladiator Solo Shuffle stats. And we'll go back to 2400. And here we go. Okay, so for the most popular melee we're seeing right now is obviously Ret Paladins doing quite well. I think Ret Paladins, one of the things that makes them really solid is obviously their damage is hard to avoid, and they have really good team utility, right? Bringing in the Sacrifice, the Sank for the healer. You know, they got good crowd control. That's why I'm making Milky Glaze here to just spam Repentance on healers. I think overall they're quite good, and they're good into warriors, which I think if my main take on the meta right now is it's basically there's a lot of really powerful melee, right? Like Arms Warrior is very powerful, Windwalker Monk very powerful, Feral really good, Ret Paladin really good. You know what I mean? You've got rogues, assassination rogues. Basically, there's a ton of melee right now in the game that are very strong. And the casters and healers that are doing well are the ones that are good or pair well with those classes. So, for example, that's why I think we see you know, things like Frost Mage is doing really well, Hunter is doing pretty decently, things like the Devastation Evoker and Elemental Shaman, because they can actually kite a lot of these melee, they can create space, and they also work well with them. So that's one of the reasons why I think they're quite strong, and I think when we talk about 3v3 later, that's going to be a main theme of that as well. But just finishing up with melee, see Outlaw Rogues and Frost Decays, Enhancement Shamans, Unholy Decays, not doing too great. Unfortunately, I think when it comes to like Frost Decay, Enhance, and Unholy, these are just great targets. It can be really difficult. If you're like the best Unholy Decay in the entire game, or Enhancement Shaman in the entire game, you know, your Big Dam or your Pet Kick, you can sometimes survive those situations if you play perfect. But for the average player, you're just going to get ran down by Arms Warriors. You're going to get one shot by Windwalker Monks. You're going to get destroyed by Demon Hunters and Ret Paladins. And it makes it really hard to play. And I think that's why we're seeing, you know, some of these specializations not have, you know, the best representation when it comes to Solo Shuffle. I myself, not to brag, I did get 2450 on my Frost Death Knight, so I was pretty proud about that one. You know, one of the worst specs, but we managed to get elite somehow. And I think I did it just by, once again, just trying to kite out these melee classes as much as possible. Just using Delirium, Chains of Ice, running around, just setting up the one-shots. But ultimately, you know, surviving and stalling it out long enough with good defensive plays that they just couldn't kill me. So I think that was my secret to success, but maybe I just got lucky. Range DPS, like I said, Hunter's looking good. There's honestly a good amount of variety. You have things like Shadow Priest, Dev Evoker, I think Demonology, Ellie, even Destro is not too bad. Arcane Mage is getting really popular. Arcane is a specialization that I play a lot, obviously. And I think it's very good in solo shuffle right now. I think it's one of the best solo shuffle specs. And a big part of that is how strong Rep Paladins are, how strong Warriors are, things like Windwalker Monks. I think you just do well into those classes in general. And if you happen to get, like, as a mage, if you happen to get in a lobby where it's like, you have a Windwalker Monk, an Arms Warrior, you're a mage, and then there's a Warlock on the other team, well, great. That's a winning matchup, you know, and I find myself in those lobbies quite a bit. You get to play, you know, you get to play Warrior Mage and attack a Warlock. You get to play Windwalker Mage and attack a Warlock. And then you get to play Mage Lock and, you know, do well into the double melee as well. So that's one of the reasons why I think mages are good, is just with the way the meta is, you just pair really nicely with so many different things. Some of the casters that aren't doing as well is Fire Mage. Fire Mage isn't terrible, but I think it just is really lackluster compared to Frost and Arcane. So not a lot of people are playing it. It's just there's no reason to play Fire Mage, in my humble opinion. Another spec that's kind of struggling, surprisingly, is Affliction Warlock, and I think that's kind of a direct result of, like I said, these melee that can just kind of run you down. Unless you get a really good lobby as an Affliction Warlock, and what I mean by that is you have like Holy Paladins on your team. You know, if you have Holy Paladins that can keep you alive, things aren't too bad. But once you start running into lobby as an Affliction Warlock, where you're playing against Druids that are dispelling all your dots, Holy Priests that are dispelling all your dots, Resto Shaman that are dispelling all your dots, Mistweaver that are dispelling all your dots, it just becomes really difficult to survive, and those healers aren't the best at, you know, healing an Affliction Warlock against something like a Warrior also. So I think that's where the struggle comes in. Balanced Druid is kind of a similar thing. You can have lobbies that are good, but it kind of relies on healers like Paladins to keep you in the fight. Now, if we sharpen up the sample size a little bit more, you can see a little bit what I'm talking about. So if we'll go both regions, 2,700. You can see Rep Paladins doing really well. Makes sense, right? It pairs well with the Warrior, and it's good into the Warrior. Demon Hunter surprisingly doing pretty well also. Arms and Fury. Windwalker Monk, and then you're seeing Feral, the Rogue specs, and Enhancement Shaman, you know, tapering down significantly compared to that. Then you have Frost Mage and Arcane Mage. Like I said, those are going to be the best things to deal with Warriors. Like, right? If you're a Warrior, your nightmare is fighting against Mages. It's a little annoying to fight against Elemental Shamans. It can be if they have Paladins. I'm a bit surprised we're not seeing as much representation with Dev Evoker, because I think Dev Evoker is good into those. The only problem with Dev Evoker is you also get kind of shut down by mages. You know, like when I'm on my mage and I'm playing against Dev Evokers, my main focus is just counterspell them on their big disintegrates, Dragon Threat them on their disintegrates, spam Polymorph them on their disintegrates, and just really get control of the dragon while hitting the off target. And I think mages can actually really limit what Devastation Evokers can do outside of certain lobbies. The healers that are doing well, or the highest rated, I should say, are Paladin, Druid. We got a Mistweaver Monk, which I think is probably Meep, and a Holy Priest. But the healer sample size is not really good, so I don't really want to pay too much attention to that one. When looking at this is a very high sample size, right? Like, this is Europe and North America top 100. So this is kind of the specializations you're seeing at the very tippity top, and what does well. So now, interestingly enough, when you look at these specializations, right now, a lot of these specializations are also the best in threes. So you're seeing Rep Paladins, which are pretty meta. When you pair it up with a Warrior, you've got Demon Hunters, which do really well. When you pair it with an Elemental Shaman, a Windwalker Monk's doing okay. When you pair it with a major Elemental Shaman, seeing a little Hunter, I don't think Hunter is quite as good when it comes to 3v3. Like, basically the way I see the 3v3 meta right now, and it's quite interesting, because I I was just watching Mez's stream, and obviously Mez has like a really tremendous insight on what's going on in the you know, the 3v3 ladder right now. So he pays attention obviously to both North America and Europe. You know, he's talking to people in Europe. He's doing war games. So he has a really, really good insight. And what he was saying, when you look at the data, so when we look, we'll go over to Sarah Mate for a second, and we're just going to look at the US activity. So in the last week in threes, okay, we'll say the last week, you're seeing that a lot, there's not one composition that's very dominant, right? So like the teams that have a really high sample size, like, you know, the teams that have, you know, let's say over 30 games, a lot of them at best have like a 70% win. And 70% win is really good. See Nate, he has a 78% win on his Demon Hunter, but not the biggest sample size. But once you go down to like the Warriors, you have like Vices. He's got a 58% win. Chun-Li is doing quite well on his Windwalker Monk, but I think depending on the monk he plays, you know, that win percentage goes up and down. Trill, 63% win. 9 lives on Feral, you know, 50% win. The low of damage, which is Trill once again on subs, 60% win. So it worried, if you see 50% win here. So a lot of these teams flop 65%. So I'm just going to keep going. Smexin, 51%. But you kind of get the idea. I mean, there's some outliers that have, you know, closer to like a 70% win. But for the most part, teams are in the 50, 60, maybe 65% win, depending on what's going on. You know, even Calvish and Cubsy. When you look at Europe, it's a very similar story. It really feels like there's lots of different compositions that can win. You have this Elemental Shaman here, Swedge. I'm going to assume that's Zipa. I could be wrong about that. But he's got, you know, 57% win with many games played. Even Raiku's 61% win. Normally, you know, in Season 1, we were seeing Raikou and Waz. These guys had 80, 90% win at the top of the ladder. So it's very competitive right now. See Waz on the Rogue, 63%. Fuston on his Windwalker Monk, 60%. You get the, I'm not going to go through all the percentages anymore, but you guys kind of get the you get the idea that it's kind of up in the air. So when we talk about going into, you know, the finals, going into the gauntlet, it's going to be one of those things where I really do think any team can win. Now, as a lot of people are saying, like, Arms Warriors are way too good. I'm not super convinced of that right now. I know Arms Warriors are very good, and maybe they are a little bit too good. But I think in the context of like, what are the best 3v3 compositions you can play? I think there's a few different compositions, and there's a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors going on. I think people are slowly starting to discover that, you know, Paladins are actually quite good into Warriors. So if you play a Paladin into a Warrior, it can be really effective using Judge to not only snare the Warrior, but put down that kind of freedom effect on the ground to allow your team to kite. That can be strong. So also Paladins are quite good with some of these casters that are struggling into Warriors, like I said. So seeing things like Paladin Dev Evoker do pretty good. I think we're even seeing some Paladin Shadow Priest. People are playing Paladin Ellie, Paladin Mage. And I think that will probably be the main theme. We're going to see so for range DPS, this is what I think we're going to see, okay? When it comes to 3v3, I think we're going to see, let me open up a little notepad right now. This is kind of my predictions for what's going to happen in the AWC. So I think we're going to see a variety of kind of the really good melee. So we'll definitely see Arms Warriors. I think we'll definitely see Rogues. I'm not sure what spec, maybe sub. Could be Outlaw, kind of doubt it. Probably sub. Arms, Rogues. We'll probably see Windwalker Monk. We'll definitely see Demon Hunter and Feral. I think these are kind of the top notch, and probably Ret too. But the Ret, I don't even put Ret as a melee. Ret is a caster, so we'll put like the melee here that are going to be good. I think that's what we'll see. We'll see a lot of Arms, a lot of Rogues, Windwalkers, DH Feral. Those are kind of the most meta of the melee right now. And then when it comes to casters, I think we're going to see a lot of mages. So both Frost and Arcane will be very good. I think we'll see Ellie Shaman. And that will probably be most of it, to be honest with you. There is a chance, a small chance for Shadow Priest. Maybe Boomy. Maybe Hunter. But I don't have high hopes for those. The only way I see these doing well is if played, well, at least for Shadow Priest. I feel like the only way we're going to see Shadow Priest, we might see Dev Evoker too. Might see Dev, Boomy Hunter. These are kind of the less popular that might do well depending on the healers that they play with, and it's going to be matchup dependent, but I think Mages and Ellie Shaman are probably going to be the standard, paired with these different melee. And then when it comes to healers, that is a very interesting one because I feel like there's a lot of really good healers right now. Like, we'll definitely see Druids. We'll definitely see Priests. We'll definitely see Paladins. I think Paladins are actually on the rise right now, doing really well. Very unlikely we see Shaman. I don't think we'll see Shaman. I don't think we'll really see Prez Evoker either. Maybe as like a counter pick, but yeah, unlikely we see Druids, or sorry, unlikely we see Prez Evokers, unlikely we see Shamans. Maybe we see Monks. Small chance Monks. We might see Mistweaver Monks. But yeah, basically in a nutshell, the TLDR right now, guys, is I think there's a lot of really good melee. And the classes that are doing well that are casters are either ones that can kite those melee and avoid damage entirely, like Mages and Ellie Shamans and Dev Evokers. And also the best healers are the ones that kind of pair nicely, you know, things with things like Arms Warriors, or things that are good against Arms Warriors. Oh, when I put caster, I need to put Paladin, Rep Paladin. Sorry, I forgot to add that one. When it comes to casters, I do think we'll see Mages, Frost Arcane, Ellie Shaman, and Rep Paladins. And if you don't think Rep Paladin is a caster, I'm sorry to inform you. I think you're wrong. And we could debate that all day if you guys want. But yeah, I would say Rep Paladins are definitely, you know, if a Dev Evoker is a caster, a Rep Paladin's a caster, in my personal opinion. And I know the Rep Paladin community is going to be mad at me for that. I got nothing against you, Rep Paladins. You're a caster. Accept it, okay? But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I will say this. I think we're in for a real treat. Like, if you guys are wanting some really exciting games, do not miss the Gauntlet. It's on May 23rd. It's the day after my birthday. So my birthday is May 22nd. I'm going to be 35, turning into an old man. But yeah, the Gauntlet's going to be on the 23rd. I'm very excited for it. You don't want to miss it, so make sure you guys tune in. If you guys watch this entire video, me sitting here talking while leveling up my Rep Paladin, I appreciate it. I'm very grateful for you. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a comment. What do you guys think about my analysis of the meta? Do you think that I'm missing anything? Do you think I'm totally off beat? Are Rep Paladins a caster? Let me know. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. And yeah, follow the channel, guys. We're so close to that goal of 100,000 subscribers. And I always appreciate you guys that are consistently watching the videos. Thank you very much. And if you're new, thank you for being here. Hopefully we see you again. Bye-bye.